The champagne glasses clinked around me as I watched my brother Derek stand there, his arm wrapped around his fiancée Maya, both glowing with that kind of happiness that makes you either smile or look away. I was doing both. The engagement party was everything you'd expect from Derek. Expensive venue, designer decorations, guests and clothes that cost more than my monthly rent. I'd scraped together enough money to buy them a crystal vase Maya had mentioned wanting. Nothing extravagant, but thoughtful. Derek opened it in front of everyone and barely glanced at it before setting it aside. Thanks, man. Must have taken you a whole paycheck to afford this, huh? The table went quiet before nervous laughter filled the gap. My face burned. This wasn't new. Derek had always been like this, but it had gotten worse over the years. When we were younger, our family hit hard times. Dad lost his job at the manufacturing plant where he'd worked for 15 years. I was supposed to start college that fall, had my acceptance letter and everything. But watching mom cry over bills, watching dad's shoulders slump each day, I made a choice. I told him I want to take a gap year, maybe work for a while. That gap year turned into 5, then 10. Derek got to finish his degree, got his fancy job, got his fancy life, and he never let me forget it. Throughout dinner, the comments kept coming. When the waiter brought the wine list, Derek made a show of asking if I needed help understanding the prices. When someone asked about my warehouse job, he jumped in with, "Oh, my brother's taking the scenic route through life. Some people just aren't built for ambition, you know?" Our parents sat there looking uncomfortable, but no one ever told them to stop. Then came the big moment. Maya stood up, practically vibrating with excitement, and announced she was pregnant. 10 weeks along. The room exploded with congratulations. Derek looked like he'd won the lottery. Mom started crying happy tears. Dad was beaming, and I sat there, my stomach dropping, because I knew something no one else knew. About 3 months ago, I'd been at Murphy's, this dive bar near my apartment. I was nursing a beer after a long shift when I saw Maya walking with a man I recognized immediately, Christopher, her boss at the law firm. He'd been at our family cookout last summer with his wife and 2 kids. But the way Maya was looking at him that night wasn't professional. When they slipped into a corner booth, when his hand found hers across the table, when they left together, and I followed them to the parking lot where I watched them kiss against his car, I knew this was something else entirely. I took pictures. I'm not proud of it, but something told me I need proof. Derek would never believe me otherwise. He'd always seen Maya as perfect, and me as just a screw-up little brother. I planned to tell him privately, gently. But then tonight happened. All those little cuts, all those public humiliations, they piled up until something in me cracked. So when everyone was still celebrating, still passing around ultrasound photos, I spoke up. My voice was calm, almost casual. "That's amazing news. Does Christopher know he's going to be a father?" The table went silent. Derek's smile froze. "What are you talking about?" I took a sip of my water. "Christopher, Maya's boss, the guy from the cookout last summer, the one with the wife and kids." Maya's face went white. Derek started to laugh, but it sounded hollow. "You're insane. You're just jealous and trying to ruin this." I pulled out my phone. "Am I?" I slid it across the table. Third photo down. That from Murphy's bar, about 12 weeks ago. You can check the timestamp. I watched Derek's face change as he scrolled through the images. It was like watching a building collapse in slow motion. Maya was saying something, her voice high and desperate, but I couldn't hear it over the rushing in my ears. Our mother had started crying again, but these weren't happy tears anymore. Guests were gathering their things, suddenly remembering they had somewhere else to be. Derek looked up at me, and for the first time in years, I didn't see smugness in his eyes. I saw something broken. He stood so fast his chair fell backward. Dad caught his arm before he could reach me. I stood too, gathering my jacket. "You know, Derek, maybe if you'd spent less time mocking my life choices and more time paying attention to your own relationship, you wouldn't be in this situation. But hey, at least you can afford a good lawyer, right? That's what ambition gets you." The drive home was a blur. My phone started blowing up before I even reached my apartment. Derek calling, texting, his messages swinging wildly between rage and desperation.